So officers responded this morning to a reported shooting in the area of Ponderosa near Montgomery Boulevard, and this was near Montgomery Park. As we've since learned, it sounds like this all started with a vehicle. I think you can see it's resting that way, was in a parking lot of a church near that park. It's unknown if the individuals were sleeping in the vehicle in that church parking lot or what exactly was going on. But it was about 3:30 in the morning. There were three adults in the vehicle. Apparently, someone approached them and maybe tried to carjack the car. One of the victims reported that the driver, who was her brother, was shot. And then the suspect tried to grab her and pull her out of the passenger seat. She was able to get away and flee from the victim. There was another female victim, who I believe is the mother of those two, was also shot. At that point, the suspect fled in their car with the male who was deceased and with the mother who was shot and injured. They came shortly this way, probably less than a mile onto Montgomery. We're right near Georgia Street. At that point, the suspect was driving their car. He crashed out just a little further down here from me, crashed into a black Jeep. Both vehicles are on scene at that point. The individual who was in the black Jeep then got in a confrontation with the suspect who had been driving the car. That individual noticed that there was someone in the driver's seat who was full of blood, and the female as well. Um, a security guard at the apartment complex just down the way here on the south side of Montgomery then approached the confrontation, and then the confrontation expanded even further, and somehow then they ended up in the parking lot of the apartment complex, the security guard and the suspect. At that point, at least one shot, possibly two shots were fired. The suspect was fatally shot. My understanding is he was transported to the hospital but died either on the way or at the hospital. The female, all three were transported. So the original male was transported, but he died as well. And the mother was transported. She's believed to be in stable condition at this point. And then the last person was the female who got out of the car back at the park. She's okay at this point. She is with law enforcement at this time. Officers, so we do have different scenes here. We have Montgomery, we have where the crash happened, we have the apartment complex, and we have that area near the church and the park. They're looking at vehicles at that area, trying to see where the suspect came from, who he was, who he is, and going from there at this point.
So just timeline, it started at the park?
This started, yeah, I guess in the parking lot of the church, which is across the street from the park. So it's unknown if they were being allowed to stay there, if they were homeless. That was the initial speculation, but we just don't know at this point.
Are you able to confirm if any of the victims were related to a TikToker, homeless TikToker by the name of Playlist?
I haven't heard anything like that. No, yeah, we're not even positive that they're homeless or not. That was the initial information.
So the security guard is the one that shot the suspect then?
Yes, as far as we know, yeah.
And the security guard, is he stable? Is he in?
He's okay. He wasn't, and I don't believe he was injured. I'm not sure if he was processed and released, but he's not in custody.
Did the suspect did he have any weapons on him?
They're still determining that. I think they're getting a search warrant for the car, so they'll be looking in the car to see if there's a weapon in there.
And just to clarify, the security guard belonged to the apartment complex there on Montgomery.
Correct.
He witnessed the whole
Yes.
shenanigans going on and the shooting happened.
He intervened, and my understanding is, the person that was in the Jeep, the other victim, felt like the security guard saved his life, intervened and helped save him. So that's how that played out. But as we know, this is all very complicated with different scenes, and we're still gathering information and trying to identify everyone to figure out what happened.
Can you break it down again with
Yeah.
the mother?
So my understanding is, so there was a male, it's an adult male, was in the driver's seat. The sister, who's also an adult, was in the passenger seat, and the mother of the two was in the back seat. I think she's elderly. I'm not sure how old she is. So they were all in the same car. I know for sure that the sister was asleep. She was awoken by she heard a pop, and then the broken window, I think, and then she said the guy was trying to pull her out of the car, and she fled. So as far as we know, it was a mother and two adult children.
And then is that the car that's located in the park?
No, so that car, You can get closer to the crime scene tape if you want, but you'll see a real colorful car over there, and then there's a black Jeep that kind of just up into that little embankment area.
And then what's the car that's
The car at the park, I think they're trying to determine if that belonged to the suspect, but that hasn't been determined at this point.
So where were they asleep at?
The parking lot of the church. I'm not sure which church. Right near Montgomery or Ponderosa, I think.
That's by Montgomery Park.
Yeah,
Oh,
by
across. Okay.
the library there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where they were sleeping. The suspect approached them there.
Yeah, according to the sister. Yeah, I'm not sure if the other two were asleep. I assume they were all asleep. It was 3:30.
And so how did it transpire to here from the park?
So after the shooting there, the two people were shot. The suspect got in the driver's seat, drove the car this way east, I think, on either Ponderosa or got onto Montgomery, and then they crashed out into that black Jeep.
The one that's right here.
Yes. And then I think right away there was some sort of confrontation between those two. They were fighting, and after the crash,
And then the security guard intervened.
the security guard was right across the street at the apartment complex. He came across to help. Then the confrontation moved into the parking lot. I think that's where the man was shot, the
And
suspect.
then you said there was a fourth scene. So you said Montgomery Park, and then the crash scene, and then the apartment complex. Where's the other one?
No, it's just three.
Oh, just three.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure. There was a car here earlier. I'm not sure if that was related or not.
Okay. And then in your experience, hearing something like this, what's your take?
It is just hard to know. It's such preliminary information. We don't even know if they were homeless individuals. I do know that sometimes churches will let them stay in their parking lot or on their property if someone doesn't have a home. But it's just too early to say what the motivations were of the suspect who tried to stole the car. We just don't know.
And just for the community, so is anybody in danger right now in the community?
No, we believe the suspect is deceased at this point.
Sounds like the sister and the security guard are the only ones that were uninjured in this entire.
As far as we know, they were uninjured.
was the sister that escaped, was she able to call police? What?
I'm not sure of the sequence of who all called police. I do know that there were several different CADs created and calls created. So when officers got the call about the shooting in that area of the park, it was unknown that this incident happened here a little bit later, but they were within minutes. It happened pretty quickly.
When should the community expect this area to reopen?
I don't know. It's going to be some time. But they've been here since 3:30, so it's been a while. We are cognizant of the traffic being blocked, but it's past rush hour, so hopefully it won't be too much longer. Anything else? Okay.